Hello and welcome to Tech Town.
Tech Town.
That's right, your place where we're talking all things tech. I'm Mr. Ellsberg. This is our town wizard.
Hello.
And we're back to you from a long hiatus.
Except it's the internet, so you may not even know.
That's right, we've been here all along. We never leave this spot.
Yeah.
Which is in a few different spots. But we're always in the same spot. And so today we're going to talk to you all things Google EO.
Close. Close. I/O.
I/O.
Yeah, so this is what's funny is that there's all these tech conferences, like Google I/O is this big tech conference where Google says, here's all our new stuff. And a lot of people don't really hear about it. I think the tech nerds hear about it.
Yeah, so like an equivalent is kind of like the Steve Jobs up in like the, black turtleneck, like walking back and forth with an iPhone and just like talking the jib jab.
Exactly.
And so Google had one recently.
Exactly. And it's funny because you hear about the Apple ones and Steve Jobs and the thing, and then Google maybe does something. But no, they actually do that too, and they announce all their new products or their ideas or whatever. Exactly. And there's some really cool ones. A lot of times it's not really stuff that you would care about, or maybe it's stuff that programmers would care about, or stuff that isn't coming out yet. But what I'm doing is I'm digging through those to give you guys the gold nuggets of what actually is kind of cool about what they're talking about.
Right. So it's basically Microsoft or Google or whoever, like Flava Flav, running back and forth with a giant clock around his neck, just getting programmers super hypey about the new stuff that's coming out.
And this one wasn't even necessarily just programmers. It could be normal people that are
bloggers.
Bloggers.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You got to have a Tumblr account or you're not invited.
It's true. So there are good normal people things that could be coming out, and it's also a little bit of like, where's the future of the tech going? So we'll give you a little pass.
So where's the future?
Okay, so good question. So they announced a bunch of stuff. It's not just about their new phone. It's about all sorts of new apps and things.
Right.
So one thing that they're going all in on is VR. Virtual reality.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of companies are doing
what happened to C?
The C got dropped in the 90s.
No VCRs
anymore.
VR.
You just stick your head directly into it. It eliminates the C if you look around.
No tapes.
Yeah. So virtual reality is getting big. We have a few different players in that space now. You've got Oculus Rift.
Nice.
That was one of the first ones to be like the premium virtual reality, because we've had like Virtua Boy, the Nintendo thing
Virtual
back in
Boy.
the day.
Yeah, I had that. It was great.
Did
It had,
you have it?
three different little, I would say levels to it, right? Three different levels. So you had like the one in the front, one in the middle, and one in the back. And you can basically see the lines where the things
this
would
was
go.
on your head.
Yeah, you put your head in it, and then it would sit like on a table, and so you'd be like all hunched over like this, because it'd never be like ergonomically correct, the way that you had it.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a good example. They've been trying this virtual reality thing for a long time. Right. And there's all these different ways you can do it. One of them that's fun is the Google Cardboard, where you just put the phone up to your face with the cardboard and you can walk around. Yeah. So they've been doing a lot of these things. Oculus Rift has one of the premium ones. Okay. Meaning like you pay $700 for the headset, right? And then you also have to build your own computer that's powerful enough to power it. So you pay another $1,000 or $1,500 for a computer. Wow. So that's really nice. There's the HTC Vive. It's another one of these things. Whatever. Okay. PlayStation is actually going to come out with a VR thing. So if you have a PlayStation 4, the video game console, you'll have the virtual reality too. Nice. Now Google started to do some of this with that cardboard thing. Okay. Their announcement was, we're going to make this into a real thing, and they're going to call it Daydream.
Daydream.
And the question is, well, what is Daydream? Is it a headset? Is it a thing? Well, it's a little confusing. So Daydream is like some software that they're going to put on their Android phones, and then some ideas of hardware for screens and headsets and things or whatever, but they're not going to sell you the Daydream. It's that other companies like HTC and Samsung are going to make phones and headsets based on this help from Google.
Right. So is Google like totally taking themselves out of the hardware?
Basically, that's a good way to think of it. You can think of it like Microsoft, where sometimes they sort of make the hardware, but really they make the operating system, they make the ways you can help program it, they give you sort of direction. So Samsung knows, okay, should kind of make this size or this way, or use this way to program it, so that other companies can make it. Okay. So in one way, it's a little confusing because you can't just go buy the Google VR thing.
Right.
But on the other hand, you get options. You might try this, and they make a better one from Samsung, and then they make this, and that's kind of nice sometimes.
Okay, so maybe a little bit like a parallel would be like the operating system like of Android, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You buy a Samsung phone, or you buy a Nexus phone, or a Motorola phone, but they all are running Android.
Exactly, and so this is the kind of equivalent for virtual reality. And then a couple of things about it. It's not going to work on every Android phone. It kind of has to have enough power and a certain kind of screen.
Right.
So what I think you'll see like Android phones sold saying they support Daydream, or they allow this, versus the ones that don't.
Got it.
Okay, and so now, what are you going to do with all this? There's all the question about virtual reality in general. I'm not going to talk too much about why that's cool. There's other times we can talk about that, and we kind of have. But at least just know that Google is getting into the virtual reality game.
Right.
Which
is cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah, more into the virtual reality game.
I'm into it. I mean, I haven't even actually experienced much of it, but I'm going to be into it.
Yeah.
And so one also interesting twist on this is that they're offering, or what they say that Google's going to have with this Android version of it, is not only apps and games where you're in the virtual reality game or you're doing your thing, but also like the lobby. I don't know if they call it a lobby, but like, when you first look at your phone, your smartphone, you're not in an app, right? You're just on the home screen.
Right.
Well, you need a home screen experience for when you're in the goggles.
Yeah, or something that can kind of bring you to a point in which you're comfortable to not having a home screen anymore.
Right.
Something like that. Some kind of transition.
Exactly. And so like a good example is the way to choose your different apps to open.
Right.
Like now the home screen, you have a list of apps.
Yeah.
Well, when you're in virtual reality, they're going to need a way to choose different apps or search.
So maybe like a virtual bookshelf or
exactly
something like that.
Exactly. And that's what they showed up. So they're going to have this, I don't know if they call it a lobby, but it's like you put the thing on and you're looking around and it's sort of this like room, and then your apps can like be over here and you can kind of look at them and you look around to the apps and there's a cool game in the corner.
Right. And if you want to open it, blink or something.
Well, I mean, that's basically the idea. And then you choose your app, and then you're in your app and you're in full. But they just announced that was a thing, because that's a question. You go from holding a phone and choosing apps to being in this weird world. How do you start your apps?
Right. Very cool.
Yeah, interesting. Cool. Next thing. So moving on from the VR, they announced a couple messaging apps.
Okay.
So one of them called Allo. Allo. Hello, governor. I'd like some aloe for my skin because of sunburns. No. So Allo is going to be basically the Android. Well, I shouldn't say Android because it's going to work on iOS as well. But the equivalent to iMessage.
Okay.
So iMessage is Apple's messaging thing,
right?
Which some people may realize that it's different than text messaging, but some people may not. It really seems like you're text messaging. You open your little text message app on the iPhone.
Google Hangouts, or is it
sort
different?
of? Yeah, it's all kind of confusing. And is it like WhatsApp?
Okay.
Or is it like Facebook Messenger?
Right.
So there's this group of like messaging apps now.
Yeah.
And some of them are very similar. Some are a little bit different. iMessage is kind of interesting because it is not always using your cell phone text message minutes, but sometimes it is.
Right.
Sometimes it's using just the internet.
Right.
WhatsApp is always just using the internet.
Right.
Google had Hangouts, but people weren't really using it. And another big thing is wasn't connected to your phone number necessarily.
Okay.
Whereas this Allo thing is.
All right, cool.
So when you first start Allo, Google's thing, and it will work on Android and iOS. And when you start it up, you enter your phone number, and then to message people, use your phone number.
Cool.
So it's pretty similar to WhatsApp and iMessage. It's a way to message people.
Okay.
But a couple cool things about it. One of them is that it does work on iPhone and Android. So like right now, iMessage is cool. I use iMessage, but that doesn't work on Android. So then I'd have to use a different thing to text with people on Android.
Yeah, which we've dealt with.
Which we have, and we've tried WhatsApp, and we've tried a few other ones. So this could be cool. Another one is it has a couple cool features, like you can make the text bigger or smaller, the font bigger or smaller, so you could like say "wow" in big font. All right, that's cool. But they now threw in the Google crazy twists. So now you got your messaging thing. But if you're in a conversation with a friend, Google can be in that conversation too.
Okay.
So as you ask, hey, you want to go to the what's a cool store around here or a restaurant?
Okay, so if you want to go to County Cork, which is a little bar down the street.
There you go. And you're asking me, do I want to go to County Cork? Well, Google will show up and say, here's a map to County Cork.
Okay.
In your little message, right? You cannot have it do that. You know, you cannot say that. It kind of shows up as a little suggestion, and then you tap on it to actually send that.
Right.
But the point is, on one hand, that's really cool because Google can help you schedule stuff with your chat app, with when you're chatting with your friends, or give you some more information. On the other hand, Google's reading your messages between your friends. And they say it's not being sent back to their servers. They're not like knowing all about your conversations.
Right.
It's done like right there.
They're
in
just
the
sending
moment.
stuff to you.
That's what they're saying.
Right.
I still would kind of just say, assume Google knows everything about you and everything you're doing.
Right.
And if you don't want that, don't use any of these things.
So I've used so they just came out with a portion of this called Gboard, which is their keyboard for iOS.
Oh, okay.
So I've been using this for the last couple weeks.
Oh, really? How is it?
And it's really interesting. So you can say, send a message, and you can say like, hey, you know, happy birthday. And then you could click on the GIF button. And then all of these happy birthday GIFs pop up that you don't have to say search happy birthday. And so it takes that out as part of your message and says, okay, and then, or you could look at pictures, or you could look, you know, at just a Google search, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, I guess, one way they sort of started with it, or they stuck it in as a keyboard, just a keyboard.
Right.
And then now I think they're probably using a lot of that same technology in this new Allo chat app.
Right.
But yeah, what they want to do is they want to recognize what you're talking about. The other thing that they're now adding in is what a lot of the other companies are doing, which is the AI assistant help. So what I just mentioned is sort of using that. The other companies give it a name, like Siri, you know, from Apple, or Cortana, or the Amazon Echo. Okay.
Which is Alexa.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But we got to watch out because he has one now. And it was cool because it'll set it off when we talk about it. Google didn't quite give it a name yet, and it didn't quite feel like a person or an assistant. But now that's what they're going to start doing. So that when you open this messaging app, you can either message your friend, or just talk to Google. And when you talk to Google, it's like when you're talking to Siri, and you can ask it questions and you can start doing all these things. It's just that they're merging all that into one app. So you're talking to your friends, you're talking to Google, you're talking to friends and Google, you're chatting, you're looking up stuff. That's kind of their way to take all this and give it to one app.
Right. So you are a cyborg with Allo.
Yeah, basically so. Yeah, you're becoming one with the universe. The other little twist on this Allo thing is the privacy and encryption side of things. I'm always about privacy and talking about privacy. So they will offer end-to-end encryption. And what that means is it's kind of the best kind, because as soon as you type it into your phone and you press send, right then on your phone it gets encrypted and only goes to the other person's end. And at the very end gets decrypted just on their phone. Which is great because that means nobody can store it in the middle, nobody can mess with it, nobody can change it. But the big controversy is that that's not on by default. So when you first get it and you start talking with your friends and you hear, oh, it's encrypted, it's not. You have to go into the private mode. And then it is. So in a way, that's really nice that they give the option, but in a way that's a little bit misleading, or also that, you know, who's actually going to do that, or why didn't they turn it on by default?
Or why don't they give you an option at the beginning? I mean, there's different things. Or notify you that it's available.
And I think this is just, at least to me, is important enough where you don't give the option, you just do it. You just have to. Because people won't. And so, okay, all that said, sounds pretty cool, a little creepy, but kind of cool.
So it's like new technology.
It's like new technology. I think the biggest what if is, will people use it? Like, you know, it doesn't just automatically happen. If I wanted to message you in Allo, and you don't have Allo, and you just want iMessage or, you know, text message, I'd have to convince you to install it. So it's just like WhatsApp or any of these other ones, where you just have to have the other people use the same app as you.
Now, is it going to be like a default on Android phones?
That's a good question.
That's the thing. So that was like a big thing with iMessage. Is it's what you use because you already have it. And
I think that's where Google can have a chance at it, because I think it will be. I don't know if they said that or not, But I get that has to be part of the plan.
Right.
But then you just have to convince your iPhone friends to switch over theirs,
right?
Because they won't have it by default,
right?
So yeah, it's a little bit of a chicken and egg thing, but I think the idea is that Google is actually, without us realizing, is one of the best like fake people to ask questions to. Siri isn't that great, and these other ones aren't. Google actually is maybe one of the best. You just don't realize it because you're doing Google searches. Right. Rather than saying, hi, I want to talk to you as a person. Right. But now they're kind of rounding that out and saying, we're going to have this little Google person in there to talk to. So cool. Yeah. Nice. All right. Another messaging app we talked about, Duo. So we got Allo for the text stuff, and then Duo is for the video chat. Okay. So it's like your FaceTime. Exactly. Like FaceTime or Skype, or they now have Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is actually kind of already doing these things, so they're sort of rebranding. I think Google Hangouts didn't work that well as far as it's working well for us. Oh, that's true. Sometimes actually. All right. Okay. Watch out. See if this is actually still recording. Okay, we're still on. Okay, right, that's good. I mean, once we use Duo. Yeah. Okay, we'll see if this gets posted to YouTube or take it down because we talked about Duo. Oh, I know. That's true. So Duo, I think the big thing about that is it's just simple. I don't think they're going to do a lot of features yet or anything. It's just that if you want a video chat, it should work. It should work well. They said really no delay. It's going to be really easy to talk to people. The simplicity thing is a big part. Exactly. Or when you move from a cellular connection onto Wi-Fi, if that happens, it should still work really well. So their goal is just to make a really simple, good video chat thing. Cool. Seems good to me. Yep. All right, so next, and we were talking a little about the Alexa, the personal, the Echo, the home. Yeah, that's right. Whoa. Yeah, she heard you. Sorry, you can go back to sleep. Yep. So they're getting into the home speaker microphone assistant game. Right. So it's this speaker that sits in your house and it has a microphone, and you just initiate it by saying, "Okay, Google," or whatever. Voice activated. Voice activated. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And then you're going to be able to do all these things like with what we're talking about with Allo and the chat bots, and it looks up stuff for you. So right. So, but here's the thing. Yeah. Is that Google is getting out of the hardware. True. Who's going to make the Google Home? I think what they've sort of done so far is that their end goal is to get out of the hardware. Yeah. But when they really want to make something, they'll make the hardware. Right. And they actually bought Motorola's hardware division. Okay. So they have this whole hardware thing for themselves. But they just need to make it, make sure it's out there, and then maybe they'll have other people start to make it. Right. But when it's at this time where they really want it to happen and nobody else is quite making it for them, they do. But that's another piece. Is okay, so Google's different, and then they come out and say all these things. Well, where's my Google Home? Why can't I go online and buy it? Yeah. Right. So that's the thing that's different, kind of about when Google does their I/O. Definitely. Right. Is they say, well, here's all this stuff. It's kind of like when you see concept cars, you're like, oh, it looks awesome. I totally want it. And they're like, yeah, well, it's not gonna ever go into production. Yeah. Well, so there is a way because Google does have a store online. Yeah. So you can, I think it's store.google.com. And they sort of show these things that you can buy. These specific ones may not be out yet. I can't remember. So it may be a little of what you're saying. But I think one of the biggest differences is that even if it is available online, it's still not like Amazon. Amazon has a web page. You go and you can buy stuff. You can buy your Amazon Echo. Yep. Google, that store page, people just don't know about it. There isn't like a physical store that you can go to. So even if it does sort of exist, people don't know about it. Right. And so they don't really have that place to sell stuff that people know to go and buy stuff. So even if they have these cool things, you may not even know. Yeah. But what I wanted to ask you, and then now that we've been talking to the Echo, is that how is that? Like I've heard some things. I've heard some stories. So here's the thing: is at the moment you're kind of limited by what Amazon can do, and so that's what makes the Google thing so exciting. Right. Is that it's connected to everything else that's going on with Google, and so for instance, I can't tell the Echo to text my friend. You know, because it's not, or to send an email, sort of thing, or something like that. But you can make lists. You can of like groceries or stuff that you want to buy later, and you can put it on your Amazon account. You can even order stuff off of it. Oh, yeah. But you're kind of limited to like play music, tell me the news, and then. But a cool part of it is that it kind of really pushes you towards
making your home smart.
Yeah.
Right. And so then you start, well, it'd be really nice to just be able to turn on my TV.
Yeah.
Sitting right here, or turn the lights on, turn the lights off, check the thermostat, and which you could do, but you just need you need to get an iNest or equivalent, or like the Philips Hue lights or an equivalent, or create Raspberry Pi Spider Network in your house, which you could do, but you kind of have to buy you have to piecemeal all of that stuff together. And so the cool thing about Google, hearing about that, is all of the other things that come with it. But so the Amazon one is neat because it comes with all the stuff of ordering if you want more things, right? And so
so a couple thoughts. One of them is a good example, I think, of where this what you can and can't do is that at first when that Amazon Echo came out and you wanted to play music, you could say play a certain artist or play this or play that, and it may be available on the Amazon's music store, so maybe it could do it. But Spotify at first wasn't supported. So if you had a Spotify account, it'd be I could almost just play my Spotify music, but Spotify hadn't yet worked with Amazon. But now it does. So now Spotify did the work to actually work with Amazon to make it work. So now you can actually play some things out of Spotify.
And you can kind of get other things together by using if this and that.
So this is This is the thing, is at first it's not quite connected to all the things. Like you were saying, Google maybe have a few advantages, but even with the Google one, Google wouldn't necessarily be connected to Spotify until Spotify does the work. So some of these things with Google, you're going to get a little more, I think calendar and email stuff like that. Text messaging though, maybe not, because but with Allo, that probably so. So that's the thing, is once this thing is there, it's almost there. But you kind of have to get some other things. I think the other really interesting thing about it is that you could theoretically, with your home automation things you were talking about, you could theoretically do that from your phone and press the buttons. But what I think is kind of maybe even the main magic about it is you just talk to your house. You don't even think about it. You're just hey, do this.
I don't want to walk upstairs and turn the thermostat down.
And I think that sounds trivial, but it's not really. And I think another big key is that they've done a better job, and you should actually let me know, of how well that actually recognizes your voice, especially with background noise. Because previously voice recognition has been really annoying because you'd have to say it twice, or it doesn't quite hear you. I've heard, and I think I've seen, this does a pretty good job of that.
It's been good so far. So there's different things of being able to I don't want to wait for my you can kind of think about it I don't want to wait for my water to get warm in the shower when I wake up. Say turn on the shower. You start the water running, and then by the time you get in there, it's already going. Right. Or turn on the stove, and you've already got your water on there, and then you're already, by the time you get out of the shower, your tea's ready. So there's different things like that, which you could see that's kind of where it's going, but you've kind of got to fill in the holes yourself to a certain point. Right. There isn't here's how to get each one of these things. Different companies produce them all, and you kind of got to go online and search everything. But you can order Domino's pizza. You can call an Uber, driver from your home.
And that's actually interesting, the difference between those two things, right? The home automation and kind of getting this started and talking to your house. That's cool. But what Amazon is about is selling stuff. So they really want you to shop with, you can say, order me again those batteries, and it knows what batteries you bought, and it just makes it so easy to buy things. They really like that. Google, on the other hand, they're about an advertising company, so they probably want you to search for stuff, and maybe they'll insert an ad, or they'll help you get to shopping or something. It's just good to know what their intentions are with this thing. Because on one hand, they want to make our lives awesome. But on the other hand, Google's an advertising company, and they want to learn more about us. Amazon's, in a lot of ways, a shopping company. They want us to buy stuff. So it's good to see what they're trying to do versus what we want it to do, and if it works or not.
It's very cool technology, though. It's very cool.
And again, I think one of the main differences is that it can hear you when you're just talking to your house. Again, all this stuff you could do just by pressing on your phone. But when you just say it and it actually hears you, I think that's maybe some of the magic that makes this
also the creepiness.
And the creepiness. All right. So Google Home is what they were calling their little speaker guy. Okay, just a couple more. Android Wear is the version of Android, like runs on the phones, that runs on the wearable things like watches. So if you have an Android watch, which does anybody have an Android? People do, but it's not necessarily mainstream. But they'll have the new operating system upgrade for that, which will do cooler things and whatever. Right. So, you know, they're going, I guess the point is they're still trying to go for some of the watch things, as well as the phones and the home devices.
Having a wearable that can tell you your vitals, and to record your vitals is like, that's like the thing that you could kind of see something like Google really taking off with, is like being able to warn you, you know, like, hey, like you're not getting like circulation to your right leg now, you know, or something like that. Having like a smart piece on you that it's able to do that, or like in this sort of thing where you have voice activated where you can just tell it. You know, that's a really big thing. Yeah,
and then there's a lot of people trying to get in that game, and some of them just measure the pulse, or some of them measure, you know, your movement. And there's a lot of that. But yeah, I think someone's going to come out with something that's a lot very, you know, all-encompassing health related that can really tell you, especially about emergencies. They have some, you know, unique devices that help with emergencies. More of the mass products are about running and you know, not necessarily emergencies. But I think emergencies is a big one. It can be.
Well, I mean, you think about like, if someone's like an epileptic, they have like a little bracelet that says something. Well, what if you had something that says, okay, start giving 30, you know, like heart palpitations right now. Okay, now 2 breaths. Right. You know, like they can coach you through that as somebody else. Too. That's you know, like you know, I'm getting a pulse, like whatever it is. You know.
You know, and okay, here's a new idea. Maybe we should make this. Is that we should make the emergency helper guy. It's all focused on when things go wrong. So like maybe it can measure stuff, or maybe it coaches you stuff, or like, you know, earthquake happens, it tells you what to do. Just based on emergencies.
Are you okay in an earthquake? Yes.
You know, and it sends it to your family and whatever. So all right. Anyway, okay, you town people, get ready for our emergency.
All right. Well, all the things Google.
One more little tiny one that's kind of fun is just separate from all that. One feature that Android, when you're gonna, let's say you normally go and you'd install an app. You know, you download the app and it takes a little bit. You download it. They're gonna have a way to use an app, or at least parts of an app, without downloading it first.
Okay, I like that. So you can try it out.
Like when you go to this, like where it would say download, you just like start using it. So it's kind of like a web page.
Nice, but it's a web page for your phone. Maybe
it's like inside the App Store. It says it's an app, but it just happens to already kind of be there. That doesn't necessarily work by default. The developer of the app will have to add a little bit of code or change some things. But okay, seems interesting.
Cool. We'll see it when it comes. Which brings us.
There's a million more things, but let's get on
to said music. Website of the week.
That's right. So this music's topic of the week is in Spotify. So Spotify, we've talked about before. I use it. I like it. Great music service. They have this playlist in there called Discover Weekly. And that's become a pretty big thing. And a couple news stories came out recently about how people are actually really using it. This is the kind of thing that's been tried a lot of times, which is make me a playlist of personalized music. You know, stuff I would like. The Discover Weekly, I think, is different in a couple ways. One of them is that it's based on everything you listen to, not just like given a certain artist. It's like everything you listen to, giving this list of music, and then it changes every week. So you get one set of music for the week, and the next week, a totally new set of music, and it's the same playlist. So you just, you know, you subscribe to it basically, and it'll just change. That's actually been around for a while. I made that when I was back working at Microsoft 10 years ago. But what is actually different, very different, is that they did a really good job picking the music.
Because Microsoft didn't do too well.
That wasn't my job, though. But no, it's really hard to actually get a list of music that you're actually liking based on your other listens. You know?
Which is curated and something that you'd appreciate.
Exactly, because sometimes they go one way, which is just based on everything you listen, just play some of those same songs, or some of these top 40 songs just keep sneaking in there because whatever. But they do a good job of mixing like their algorithms and math or whatever with, I think, people that help curate this. So they're very intentional to make that list of music really good. And I believe it because I've listened to it and it's good. Like, I can tell you from my experience, that playlist is way better than all the other attempts at doing this sort of thing. So definitely try it out if you haven't. If you have Spotify, it just shows up as a playlist in your playlist, Discover Weekly, and it'll just keep changing. Do it. Try it out. It's good.
And we'll have to check it out with Echo here.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Discover Weekly. Check it out. Which brings us to
the security.
Be safe. Ting.
Nice. So just a little tip for security. Since, like I was talking about, I'm all about privacy, right?
Yep. Make
sure we have our privacy. One interesting twist in the law enforcement world is that it's a question of can cops make a person unlock their phone so they can dig into things?
Right. So this was a thing that happened recently. We've talked about the case that was out of San Bernardino. So they wanted to unlock the iPhone. The FBI wanted to get someone to unlock their iPhones. And so they're trying to get the NSA to help them out. And then they just put out a blast. Hey, programmers, anybody help us. There's a bounty on figuring it out. And someone came and actually showed them how to do it. Right? And so they dropped the case and everything to try to get it through the courts. And they just said, nope, we've got super nerds that are in here. They know how to hack the hack. And we'll do it.
It's not that they have super nerds, that they hired super nerds.
Yeah, they hired it. You contracted out super nerds. So,
but here's the thing. Now we all just forgot about it, and now they're just hacking everything.
They're hacking the hack. Right.
But here's the other angle on it, which is fingerprints. So the difference between and let's say it's not necessarily a terrorist who did terrorist attack. Let's say it's you. Let's say you're just out walking around, and a cop runs up to you and grabs you and says, you're under arrest for something we think you did. You have to show me what's on your phone. Now, again, most people may say, well, I didn't do anything wrong, so that's fine. I'm saying no. The principle of the matter is we should not be just giving them all of our information and rights. That's the reason that we have the right to remain silent and to have a lawyer. So what's interesting about this nuance is about the fingerprint. So far, a fingerprint isn't like a password. It's different. And the cops can tell you to put your finger against the fingerprint reader on your phone. And they can force you to do that because a finger is a finger, whereas a password, if they say, I need you to tell me your password, you're allowed to say no. Okay, so that's kind of the setup. So fingerprints, turns out, in a way, are less private because they can compel you to do that. So I'm going to give you the advice. Next time the cop runs up to you and you're about to be in this situation and you want to say, I am a fighter for privacy and we're going to do the best things. I'm not going to give you anything I don't want to give you. But you have a phone with a fingerprint reader like I do, and it's all set up for that. Here's the trick. Here's what you do. Turn off your phone.
Turn off your phone.
Turn off your phone. Immediately just turn off your phone. You hold the button, you slide to turn off, and turns it off. And the reason you do that is because when it turns back on, it won't allow you to put your fingerprint. It says the first time you turn on your phone, you have to enter the password. So that.
Well, you can also set it up so that you just have to enter the password every time
you can do that
try
too.
To unlock your phone.
So I guess my advice is for when you have decided to do the fingerprint thing. So you do have the fingerprint thing going on, and then you may be in a situation where the police need to look through it. Just turn off the phone, and therefore you don't get into that situation where you can be compelled with the fingerprint.
Got it. Boom.
So not that you're doing anything bad. It's just we don't want to go down that path. We should be in control of these devices that are basically our whole lives. So there you go.
That's it. That's your security. Check out the Google I/O, music, Spotify, Discover the Week. Thank you for tuning in. And that's it from Tech Town. We will see you when we see you.